Hi, Jake.
Hi.
So, what is your favorite part of being on my podcast?
My favorite part of being on your podcast so far, and this is the beginning of it, is that I realized that we've known each other or of each other for possibly 4 years now and have maybe met twice.
Yeah.
So I like the kind of awkwardness of two people sitting in a room about to get to know each other.
What awkwardness?
Well, it's a little awkward, right?
No, I don't feel awkward.
I feel a little awkward.
Okay.
But I think it's funny because we're sitting in kind of like a spare room. You keep your apartment pretty spare. You think it's dirty. You apologize for how dirty it is, but it's really nice and it's very clean.
Oh, thank you.
This honestly might not even be your apartment. I don't know. I don't really know anything about you.
You don't
I
have
just
to.
realized I don't even know what you do for a living. I just know that we follow each other on Twitter.
Yep.
And I met you through Sam Varela, who is the best. And so my favorite part is like I have no idea what's going to happen.
Yeah. Do you know Sam's moving to New York?
No.
Yeah, she's moving to New York.
Really?
Yeah.
When?
Like, really soon. She accepted a job over there, so within the next week.
Wow. What's the job?
It's like, she said one of the top bookers, and then someone else asked her to be the third person in their new firm. They offered her
Wow,
more
well, good
money,
for her.
I think that you and I should talk about things we hate about New York.
Okay.
The weather, for one.
Wait, hold on a second. Are
It's
you
dirty.
from New York?
No.
Wait, have you lived there?
No. I've been there.
How often have you been there?
It doesn't really matter. I mean, this isn't about me. It's just about how New York is dirty and
How do you
really
know I don't like New York?
expensive. Because Sam Varela is moving there. None of us like New York anymore.
Oh, well...
Do you not like New York?
I'm from New York.
Oh, oops.
But I don't love it.
Okay.
Actually, you know what it is? You know how, like, if a parent has a kid and they don't really like the kid, they love the kid, but they don't like it?
Yeah.
It's kind of how I feel about New York.
Oh, my God. Okay.
I love it because it's great. It really is an incredible place. It weaned me. It made me into the aggressive
Did you
Jew
just
that I am.
use wean the correct way, or
Yeah.
was that your own? Okay.
I think so. Well, do you not know if it's correct?
Doesn't wean mean like to wean you off of something?
Maybe.
Okay.
Who knows? I was an English major.
Sorry for calling you out on that.
Oh, you can call me out. I don't give a fuck.
gonna Google it later.
I'm pretty humble. I mean, I have to be humble because I'm not that great. But but the thing about New York is that I love it because it did a lot for me. But I don't like how the people treat each other there. And I
Yeah.
don't like being there. And it's cold and it's smelly and it's loud and everyone's angry and everyone is grasping for dreams that probably aren't going to happen. And everyone is spending too much money for things that should cost way less.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't know, especially in comedy, you know, like that's been my connection with it the last few years more than anything. A lot of the New York comics, they're so funny, but when they come out of New York, they're angry. They've been clawing at each other, like metaphorically, and it's just awful, and they're mean, and they don't trust anyone. When you're nice to them, they're like, why are you being nice?
Yeah.
You know, they don't actually like enjoy the experience of human interaction. They're brilliant, but and it's like an incredible place. There's so much culture
No, don't
mashing
say that.
together.
No, it's not. There's no culture there.
You don't think there's a culture?
No one needs to move there. No.
No one needs to move to New York? Why are you so anti-New York?
There are rats there.
There are rats here.
No, there aren't.
I'm a rat.
No, I mean, you know, like big, dirty rats.
You don't think I'm big?
Anyway, so what would you say is your pet peeve when it comes to being in a relationship?
My pet peeve when it comes to being in a relationship, I think, is when the other person doesn't realize they're not responsible for you, but like that there's another person that is like kind of needs you for stuff. Like I don't like I think that I don't know, my pet peeve in general, I mean there's a million pet peeves someone would have in a relationship, just because often the things you like about someone at the beginning are the things that bother you at the end. You know, it's like oh, they do that really cute sound when they go to sleep, and then like 3 years in you're like, I can't fucking sleep because they won't stop making that fucking sound, you know? But I think in general, my pet peeve, I wouldn't say this is like a pet peeve. Pet peeve is too minor a term for this, but I think in general, I try to be a pretty considerate boyfriend. And then if I'm dating someone and they don't really think about me in the same way that I think I'm thinking about them, it's, you know, it's frustrating. It's like, come on, like I need you, but I don't. But also, I think, you know what else it is, Mary, is that I don't accurately communicate that I need that much.
Yeah.
And so the pet peeve is really actually with me. The pet peeve is with my own lack of communication that leads the other person to think I'm fine when really I'm not. It's like I expect them to read my mind.
Yeah.
And then I sort of get upset with them, and then I get upset with myself, and it's feelings upon feelings, and then I haven't had sex in 6 months. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that.
No, I'm the same way. I would rather do anything except for tell the other person that I need more than they're giving.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm like, if I'm not having my needs fulfilled in a relationship, I'm like, well, it just isn't meant to be, which is kind of like a pussy move because...
Well, nothing is meant to be because nothing is anything.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's just something I tell myself so I can be like, you're not a coward for not telling the other person what you need.
I still haven't figured out if I want to get married.
Okay.
Kind of based on what you were talking about. It's kind of like, well, if I'm 31, and if I'm unable to, like, communicate at this point, the longest relationship I've had is 3 years... But if I'm unable at this point to communicate, like imagine like 40 years of that shit, like that's like not going to work. I don't even know why I'd want to get married because I don't think I want kids. So it's like, why would you get married? But also, I just don't see how it can work. I get very confused about long-term relationships. I feel like someone who could really do one well, and then anytime I get in a relationship, I'm like, oh man, this is difficult. Like this is like really frustratingly hard. I don't feel like a very difficult person, but I think that I am, or as difficult as anyone is. And so it's like,
well, you're being pretty hard on yourself though to say you're 31.
I think I'm pretty stupid IQ wise, but I think my EQ is pretty high.
No, you don't.
No, really. I'm saying that like I think EQ is what I had growing up, and that's why I always felt kind of dumb growing up because the school I went to was a public school, but a lot of brilliant kids there. It was the suburbs of New York, and like lawyers and doctors' kids, mostly Jews and stuff like that, very smart people. And so like, you know, a lot of kids were getting A's on tests, and I'd be like, I have feelings, you know, or I know what that person did that thing because I understand motive and feelings, but that wasn't what was graded. And so I think I actually am fairly emotionally intelligent, although I've obviously made some mistakes, mainly because I'm a guy and guys are idiots, but I think I'm fairly emotionally intelligent for a guy, but I don't, but it's just, but also, it's not even that I am 31, it's that I just am now at 31 am much more of a man than I used to be and a much better person than I used to be. And so now I'm like, oh, at 31 I'm kind of realizing who I am right now and being like, I don't know if this is ever going to be possible. Of course it can change, but and it probably will, but it's just realizing who I am and like, oh, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do this. I'm going to keep trying at least for at least 15 more years. I'm going to try to have good relationships.
Until you die at 46.
I actually do think I will die young.
Why do you think that?
A lot of cancer in my family. I have a lot of anxiety. And because I have an inflated self-importance, I think I'm going to die before I can achieve what I want to.
Oh, I understand. I think you have a high IQ, but studies have shown emotional intelligence is actually more important to everything. Like work success, obviously relationship success. Having a high IQ is...
Why do you think I have a high IQ?
Everyone thinks that.
That they have a high IQ?
That you have a high IQ.
You've had this conversation?
Oh, yeah.
Who have you talked to?
I don't know,
about
Sam.
Me? You've talked to Sam about me?
Named. No, I haven't.
I love
talked
Sam.
About
Sam's
you.
a good friend.
But I mean, you're regarded as intelligent. You know that. You have an intelligent sensibility.
Interesting. Are you a very smart person?
Or else you wouldn't be in my fake apartment doing my podcast. No, I don't think I'm smart. I think I think I have high emotional intelligence, but maybe thinking that makes me not have a high
Why don't you
emotional
think you're
intelligence.
smart?
Well, I don't know. I think I'm fine. Give me a
break.
This is not your podcast,
Jake.
You
think you're smart, you just don't want to admit it.
No, I would never lie to you.
You
to
would
your
definitely
face.
lie to me. There's no repercussions for you lying to me because we see each other once a year at some random party, and it's like, hey.
What else was I going to ask you? What is your favorite and then least favorite quality about yourself?
Wow.
You have to answer.
Oh no! I'm not going to not answer. I just am thinking about it. Like I it's like you don't actively think about this all the time. And you're like, what is my literal? I mean,
you don't.
No, I don't think about what my least favorite part about myself is. My least favorite. Well, I'll just say one of my least favorites, I guess.
Out of many, okay.
One of my least favorites is my inability to enjoy all that I've been given.
Oh yeah.
I think that it's like
one of
a
mine
terrible, terrible thing, and I work on it all the time, and I don't really know what to do about it. Because I wrote this online the other day. I wrote, I've had an incredible life and I've hated every second of it. And that's pretty much how I feel.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah.
For my own selfish reasons. When you say work on it, what do you mean?
Well, if you know that you've been given a lot and you know that, like, objectively it's great. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I get to kind of do whatever I want with my life.
Yeah.
You know, and you know that freedom is like the main thing, you know, that people want. Is like that money is basically freedom. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of things are freedom. But I don't enjoy life. I mean, I do and I don't, but like I feel like I've been given a lot of gifts. I feel like I'm not deformed in any way. I feel like I'm somewhat smart. I feel like I'm pretty funny. I feel like I don't look hideous. I don't have college debt.
Right.
You know, all this stuff. Like, you know, both my parents are still alive. Like, all that stuff. Like, I feel pretty, like, what more? I'm a white man. I'm straight. Like, I'm like, you know, I'm top 1% of people that have been given stuff in this world. Yeah. And I just have always been very depressed. Like, I don't know what it is, and I don't know why I'm so unable to grasp how. Because also the other thing, Mary, is that I really am I'm such a godless person. I really think that there's no God, and that evolution is clearly what happened, and so we're fucking mammals. Like, we're the same as a cat. Like, nothing matters. Our feelings are all stupid. Like there's insane inequality in the world. Like, that, like, women are treated terribly, gay people are treated terribly, like, anyone who's not white is treated pretty terribly. And so it's just like, and we're talking about America, but other places too. So it's I've been given everything, and I understand how unimportant life is, and I understand that Earth will fucking explode at some point, and that it's such an insignificant place in our galaxy. So I really just want to, like, enjoy it. 'Cause I'm like, oh, this is a crazy trip, but I, like, can't, you know? And I don't know what it is. So that's my least favorite part. I have a lot of bad qualities, but that's my least favorite thing.
That's a really good least favorite part. You pretty much describe my mentality perfectly. Like, I don't enjoy things as they happen. I'm always looking forward or even back instead of just enjoying anything. But, like, any, like, achievement or anything good that happens, I'm pretty much never feeling things in the moment, which is an awful thing to say.
No, it's tough. It's very weird. It's like, here's the other thing. I don't think that anyone should pity me. Like, I'm like, I know I've been given a ton, so it's like, yeah, this is my
But it would be nice to enjoy it.
Well, and for me, it's like, you know, the other thing, Mary, is that I do stand up, like, every night, and things have gone way better for me in the last year. Like, suddenly, like, I don't have any money, but, like, other than money, everything's going great. I feel very happy about it. And it doesn't have a huge impact on me a lot. You know, it really doesn't. Like, I've been able to accomplish some dreams, you know, and it doesn't really have that much of a net positive. Yeah. I know that my life is better than it was from before I started comedy. I know that my life has gotten way better. I know I've worked my ass off for it, and I know that my life's better. But there's something about just the way my brain works that it doesn't. Like, I wish that my life had been given to someone else who could have enjoyed it, because I have a great life.
You're way nicer than I am. I've never had that thought. What do you like about performing?
What I like about that is that, for some reason, this world tries to contain people. It doesn't appreciate change at all. It resists change or being, quote unquote, weird in any way. This world doesn't want that. And that's so fucked up, because everyone is so fucking weird. And everyone has a lot to say that won't harm others, and they should say it. And, like, just in the very basic way, it's like, just think about this world. Like, we still have problems with gay people in this world. What? That is so crazy. Like that, and it's not even like let's just beyond the awful part of it. Let's just to talk about it objectively. It's like, that is the craziest thing ever, because that has to come from religion and the idea that life is sacred. So they're like saying, like, oh, procreation is the reason that we're here, or some bullshit, or like anything aberrant to straight up procreation, or the way things theoretically should be that lead to procreation is bad. And it's like, that it's literally the stupidest thing ever. It's like saying 2 + 2 = 5. It's like, it's just wrong, and it's wrong about the world. It's wrong about what humans are. It's wrong about everything. And so I kind of feel sometimes that when I perform, it's like breaking free from society's restrictions, not equal to sexuality, but saying like, okay, society, fuck you. This is my time to do whatever the fuck I want. I'm going to act crazy. I'm going to yell if I want to. I'm going to be naked if I want to. I'm going to say crazy shit. I'm going to put crazy comedy sketches online. You can't fucking stop me. And so I think what I like about it is that it's the time I feel freest.
That's awesome.
And the other thing about comedy is, because of the construct of comedy, you're allowed to be freer on stage than you are if I'm having a conversation with you.
Oh yeah.
Like just in like a
it's
social.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, they can kind of say that crazy shit because they're on stage, but in person. Like, for instance, when people come up and talk to me and they ask that question, hey, how are you? I always answer honestly. No matter who it is, that is who I am. And I know that's a terrible quality, and I know that people don't like that.
That's interesting.
But I don't give a fuck, because that's how I want to live.
Yeah.
I want to live openly.
What's the point of even talking if you're not going to answer honestly?
Right. And I know it's a burden to other people, but I don't. It is, because they're uncomfortable because they're not used to that amount of openness.
Actually, I do that too, but it's only because I have to. It's like I almost wish that I didn't do that. If someone like asks me how I am, I'm like, oh, shitty, this happened, and I'm like, I really didn't have to say that, but it's just what's on my mind.
But I did have to say it, because it's like, that's who I am. You know what I mean? That's who I am. I'm not that other person. I just have become comfortable with being like, I'm just this loud Jew who's kind of narcissistic and self-involved, but also nice, and I just want to talk about shit all the time because we're all going to die. Yeah. You could fucking die tomorrow. So I'd rather just say everything now, and it's like, I don't know, I just don't understand. I think everyone thinks about life the wrong way. I
do too.
I think that's
we are going to die. We're mortal, so we might as well do whatever the fuck.
I will die very soon. Like, it's all... No one ever says life is too long. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Well, I mean, some people do, but it's anyway. The best thing about the stage and acting and all that stuff, and really acting when it's in your own stuff, is really the freest you can feel. Is you're like, fuck you, world. I'm gonna do me. Mm-hmm. So that's what I like best about it. Yeah,
that is one of the only places where that's rewarded instead of like, I don't know, feared, I guess, or looked down on.
Well, I think people are scared of it. And I think, the thing that I also like about comedy is that, and I've noticed that, and I have not succeeded in the way that I want to yet in comedy, but if I do, I've noticed other comedians who are like I'm doing it 5.5 years. Comedians are kind of like 10 years in who are really starting to succeed. About 10 years in is when I think most people the people who do succeed start to really succeed. Mm-hmm. Like, there's some comics who are like getting kind of famous, and like then in public they can act however they want. It's kind of like, well, society's like, well, they're allowed to. They're allowed to be one of our clowns because they've worked for it for 10 years, and it's a safe way that they're a clown because everyone knows they're a clown. And what I do like about comedy and this very small successes that I feel like I've had, which are very small, I kind of am allowed agency to be a little bit more myself than other people can be. Yeah. Which I like.
Yeah, that's nice. Did you do anything before comedy? Did you ever want to do anything else?
Well, when I moved to LA, I worked for 4 years in the entertainment industry in a ton of different jobs that were terrible, just like various assistant jobs. I wanted to make movies. I wanted to make documentaries. I wanted to write films, but cool. I wasn't doing any of that. Yeah. I just was failing, and that's why I started comedy.
That's why you started comedy?
Yeah, because I felt like I'd completely failed, and I was pretty suicidal. So I was just like, oh, I'll do comedy because I didn't think I was funny, but I was like, but it's like kind of like I skydove once, and it was kind of like that. It was like, oh well, I'll just do this because it's a life experience. But I wasn't thinking I was going to do comedy. Oh, but it was great because you get an immediate gratification from it, even if it's a negative response.
Hell yeah.
It's like it feels like you're taking a big risk, and also, you know right away if the writing is bad or good. And so when I was writing screenplays, I would just write 5 pages and just have no idea if it was good or bad, and I'd get down to myself, and I wouldn't just I hadn't learned how to keep working at something, which is all that success is just continuing to work at something. And but I hadn't learned that, and comedy was the right vehicle for me because I just need constant gratification, or I need constant feedback.
Yeah. What was your first experience doing comedy like?
My first experience was at the Spot Cafe in Culver City, which I think then became Synergy Cafe. And it was in 2009, and I think it was the summer. It was right after I turned 26. I think it was July 1st, 2009. And I knew Guy Branum and Julia Bensfield-Luce, who were two super funny comics, and they were doing open mics, and I knew them from my personal life. And I'd gone to watch a few open mics, secretly thinking maybe I'd just try it one day. And I'd been watching a bunch of open mics and kind of writing jokes. I didn't really know what jokes were, but just writing down thoughts I had that I thought were funny. And it was kind of like the end of the mic, and I was hanging out there, and I was like, you know what, just fucking do it, Jake. What are you doing? You know, it doesn't matter. Just do it. It'll be ripping off a Band-Aid. Yeah. So I sidled up to the host of the mic, and it actually was she later became a good friend of mine named Brandy Posey. And she's a funny comic, but she was the host of that mic, and I was like, hey, do you mind if I go up? And then I went up at the end.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Just
because I was like, why wait? You know, just go do it. And it was very addictive, and then I just started doing it a ton.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Like immediately I was like, oh, this is what I've been missing. It's probably how a lot of people feel when they try heroin. It's just like, oh, yeah, this is the feeling I've been chasing, right. You know? Like, this is what I want out of life. And then I just abandoned everything I've been doing in my life and just started doing comedy.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love doing comedy too. I don't think that I should be stand-up, but whenever someone asks me to do anything, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. And it's like there's nothing as scary as right before you get on stage. Like, I play with a lot of bands, and that's totally different because there's like 4 or 5 people.
What do you play
on stage? I play everything pretty much.
Are you in bands right now?
Yeah, I have a band right now. But stand-up comedy is totally different because there's no instrument. It's just you. And before I get on stage, I always think I'm going to have like a heart attack. And also I'm drinking like vodka and coffee at the same time, so that contributes to that. And then I get on and it's the most fun thing ever. Like, it's just amazing. So nothing can really do that, like getting on stage. But since I know more people in LA now, I hesitate to do anything like that because I think they'll be like, oh, she's trying to be a comic now too. Because, you know, everyone thinks like that. But
who gives a fuck what people think?
I know, Jake. I really shouldn't care.
You just need to push past it. You need to be like, who cares? Like, I don't, like, it doesn't... Like,
I know, you're absolutely right.
I mean, literally nothing nothing matters at all. I mean, listen, we construct morality because we need it, because we should have an equal society. You know, we really should. If we're alive, we should be pushed to it. But like, you're dust. Like, there's no God. You're gonna die. Like, you're gonna feel so much pain and then die. You know what I mean? So it's like it doesn't fucking matter. Like, you know, smoke. Don't do any of the crazy drugs and just fucking get on stage. It doesn't. You know,
don't do any of the crazy drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Life's only gonna get worse. I should just do everything now.
Oh, God. No question. But I understand the anxiety completely. I mean, it's not like I've been through it. I don't get anxious anymore. 1 out of 100 shows I'll get anxious and it'll creep up on me. I'll be like, Jesus, what is that feeling? But in general, I don't get anxious because I've done it so much. And it just, your body can't create that anxiety that many times. You know what I mean? Like I've done it so much comedy that it's like, it doesn't, I'm not nervous because I know what I'm doing. It's not even fun. It's like, I'm just going to go up and do my job. Like, it's my job, you know?
Yeah.
And it gets less nerve-wracking the longer you do it.
Who's your favorite comedian?
Man, I don't know who my favorite comedian is, but I will say that for various reasons, recently I've been on a real Bill Burr kick. I think he might be the best working comic right now. And one of the reasons I love Bill Burr, his new special is incredible. I'm sorry you feel that way on Netflix. It's so good. And one of the reasons I really like him is, I mean, there's so many reasons why I like him, but I don't agree with a lot of him and what he says, but it makes me laugh anyway. And the technical difficulty of that to make me like, to push me away and then bring me back in is amazing. And it's very, very funny. I almost could not disagree more with him on what he talks about on stage sometimes, but it's so funny. It's so deeply funny, and it's just brutal, and it's like, and man, there's so many turns. It's just great, very raw, very smart comedy delivered in this like workman-like way. He's a brilliant guy, but the way he talks, he's like, I'm just an idiot, but he's like a brilliant guy, and his character is an idiot. Or his character is like this, like, what do I know about life? You know, I just a loudmouth, opinionated guy, but it's like it's close to genius, I think, and it's like it's really special and really funny, and I learn a lot from it. And as someone who is like another angry white guy comic, I'm different from what I talk about than him, but I learn a lot from him because like that's he's been doing it what 20-something years. I've been doing it about 5.5. In 20 years, that's kind of who I want to be. Is like talking about different things, but a similar style to him, which is kind of like aggressive.
Right? Are you angry? I never knew you to be an angry comic.
I don't know. I think some people think that I am. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I don't even know if Bill Burr's angry. I just sort of see it that way as like the type of thing. He's not. I don't think he's that angry, but he comes across that way. But it's an act. Like, I'm just loud. I'm loud and like, I hate this, but in your face.
You're not too loud.
When's the last time you saw me?
years ago.
Yeah, it's different. It's different now. Yeah, it's
Really?
totally different.
Okay,
yeah,
now I want to
totally
see your
different.
new loud, angry stuff.
It's just more like, it's just bolder, because like I think the more you do comedy, the more you learn how to command a room, and there's many different ways to do it. Like the way Tig Notaro, who's just one of the best ever,
Yeah.
she does it. She's very
Subtle.
silent
Yeah.
and subtle, but it's like captivating.
It's amazing. Yeah,
I mean, she's one of the best ever.
Yeah.
I almost said her, but right now I'm just in a Bill Burr kick. But like but you learn how to command a room, and like I think for a lot of men, just because they're big and physically imposing, it ends up being this loud, sort of aggressive stage presence. And women can be like that too, but it's just I see it more for men, and then women are often more inventive in the ways that they control them, and more, I think, at least feeling comics, just because
I think they have to
the
be.
audience looks at them in a certain way that doesn't allow them aggression, I think, as easily. But so anyway, yeah, I'm much louder and like try to control the room and be an enormous presence than I was. So trust me on that.
Okay, I trust you. Are you sober?
Yes, I'm not an alcoholic though.
Oh, okay.
But I am sober. I've been sober for about 5 years.
Holy shit! So you haven't had a drink in 5 years?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, you know, I started drinking when I was very young, because that's kind of what you did in the suburbs. Like you just drank. Like you played beer pong and you drank, and I just drank. I never even thought about it. I was like, I never liked it, but I just drank. It's like, that's what you fucking do, you know? I would try to be the DD a lot, and one of the main reasons is I just don't like the taste of alcohol. Like I know that no one likes the taste that much, but I really didn't like the taste. And I didn't, also, the feeling was never that good. It was either kind of like a little buzzed or nauseous. Like I was like, or bloated. I also have always had pretty bad body dysmorphia, so I didn't like how I felt when drinking. And so it's like, I just never liked it. And then I, definitely have vomited plenty of times in my time, and I, went to college, drank a lot there, and didn't smoke pot, was afraid of pot, like kind of went through that, like was very much a victim of like, pot is the demon, even though it's a million times better than alcohol for everyone, and
for sure.
So it would be way better if everyone smoked weed instead of drank. And then, I started comedy, and, I'm so ambitious, and when I love something, I work so hard at it. But if I don't like something, I don't work at all at it.
Yeah.
But when I met comedy, I was like, I love you. And so I worked so hard, and I drove to so many different open mics every night. And when I started, I would drink a little bit because I was anxious. And I was like, oh, if I drink one drink at 3 separate open mics in one night, that's illegal. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's, I could probably get arrested. If I get pulled over, I'm fucked. Then I can't drive. Then I can't do open mics anymore. So I was like, you know what? I'll just stop this for a while I'm doing so many open mics. And once I stopped, I was like, oh, you keep weight off easier. It's less money. I don't have any money.
Yeah,
I haven't had money the whole time I've been out here. So it's like, I need the money. I don't need the alcohol. I can drive without fear of being pulled over and really fucked. And once I stopped, I haven't vomited since I stopped drinking.
Oh, wow.
And vomiting from drinking I never feel more shame or anger towards myself than when I vomit from drinking. So it's like, I haven't in 5 years, and it's like, it's worth it. Even to not vomit like once, even just once, it's like worth it to not have done it for 5 years. I hate vomiting that much. And so it's like, I was kind of like, my life's so much better. My life has been vastly improved by not drinking alcohol. I smoke pot. I love it. It's way better, at least for me. And so, I don't know. There's nothing. I don't like people when they're on alcohol that much. Like I have so many friends who get trashed all the time, and they're like, oh man, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, stop drinking. And they're like, no, I can't do that. And I'm like, you're poisoning yourself every fucking night. It's so easy to drink every single night. It hurts you so bad. You get hangovers. You feel terrible. You get loud. You do terrible shit when you're drunk. And no one seems to understand that. But here's the thing. I'm lucky because I don't like the taste.
Yeah.
So I don't miss it at all.
That's amazing.
But I also very much have no interest in restricting people of doing whatever they want to fucking do. Like especially as I get older, this even leads to like sexuality and stuff. I've never had an open relationship, but I'm almost at the point where it's like, if someone wants to date me and they want to like fuck someone, it's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I used to care so much, and I probably would, but it's like, in general, when I think about like, who fucking cares? Like, who cares? Like, what? It's fucking cum and penises and vagina. Who gives a shit? Like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And mostly the reason why I don't want that is when I was younger, and I think a lot of guys are like this, they are taught to have possession over a woman's body when they date her.
Oh, okay.
Like in terms of like, you can never fuck another guy if you fucked me. I think, and you're really taught that. And guys, it's not a good thing. I'm
not just
proud
taught.
of it.
It's like evolutionary, like paternity isn't known. So if a woman gets pregnant, you can't know if it's hers if she fucks around. So it's like hardwired in men.
But I still think though, men. I mean, I hate men, and I hate being a man. I try to think about it a lot because I've made some pretty bad mistakes in my life.
Same.
And just like been a dick, like, and not realizing I was a dick and stuff, and not because I think I'm not always necessarily aware I'm a man. I think I have a weird.
That's
not
good.
complete, but like a little bit of a weird gender disorientation. Like I don't know like I'm male and I'm straight, but I like don't always think of myself that way. And so sometimes when I do something, I'm not thinking of myself as a man doing it. But when I think about it as a man doing that thing, I'm like, oh, you were a fucking monster there. Like that was a terrible thing to do. Right. And I've gotten better at it as I got older, way better.
I think people do see you for who you are, though. Like, you're a tall, straight male, but I don't think people see you that way. Just the way you are.
You don't. But I think a lot of people do.
I think I speak for everyone. So,
do you?
Yeah. I have a weird gender thing, too. Like, I don't really see myself as one, especially, like, as a vaguely Asian woman. And I have to, like, be aware of that sometimes. Because, like, if I'm being too nice to a dude, it's like, oh, I have to stop. Or else I'll get a Facebook message the next day. You know?
Oh, really? Wait,
Yeah.
you think that's related to being...
Being a woman, just, I guess.
Oh, being a woman. Okay, I didn't know, because I was interested in the racial part of it. Because as a white guy, like, I'm so curious about all that stuff because I have no idea.
Well, the Asian thing is weird, actually, because I don't like to identify myself as anything, so it's weird having people look at you and like see a certain thing.
Right, you're different.
Like, that is super weird, and especially like I grew up in Montana, so there aren't.
Did you?
Yeah. There aren't a lot of Asian people there, so it's kind of like guys who like Asian women will just like hang on to you like, you know, a survivor clings to a raft. I don't know. There's just it's really not that interesting to
I think it's interesting
to talk about, but people definitely do see you in a different way, and it is odd figuring that out later, or if like someone tells an Asian joke and they make sure you're laughing or something like that. That's weird too. It's like I'm just me.
Yeah, no, I know it's weird. I think a weird part of modern, especially liberal society, is that be very aware of what you are and what you're projecting into the world, and the privilege you've gotten or the privilege you haven't gotten. And it's like I totally understand why that's important, but sometimes like no, I don't. I'm not. Like, for instance, like, for me, I have a lot of female friends. I'm much more comfortable around women than I am men, though I have a lot of male friends, too. And the male friends that I have are very sensitive and wonderful. But, like, I often want to tell my female friends, oh, you look great. You look so pretty, like, whatever. It's like, and I don't want to fuck you. I just want to, like, tell you that. But it's like, I forget, like, I'm, like, a guy. There's a lot of weird stuff like that. But it makes society interesting and not boring. And it's a little frustrating and it's sad, but that we can't be a little more free than that.
It is frustrating, yeah.
But too many people are dumb, and that's just what we do. That's what we have to deal with. I don't remember the original thing we were saying.
Yeah, what's the thing that all of your exes have in common? Like, what's like the tying thing where you're like, oh shit.
You know what? Unfortunately, they've all been white.
Unfortunately,
all very white girls.
Also, all mine too. I mean, that's just percentage.
You know why?
Unless you're racist.
You know why? I'm not. I don't think I am. It's that white women are the only people that are interested in me.
What?
Sincerely, I have lived a while. I am a flirtatious person. I love dating. I've slept with a decent amount of people. I've hooked up with a bunch of people. I've like dated a decent amount of people. And I am such a white person. Like, I'm so Jewish. My concerns are so white. Like, I have such a myopic view of the world. Like, it's just I'm a white person, and only white people could be attracted to me because of how fucking white I am. I believe.
I don't think that's true.
I would hope that it goes outside that, but truly, for me, for white women, I'm acceptable. For everyone else, it's like I'll sort of be your friend, but I would never fuck you. You know what I mean?
That's ridiculous. Do you think that's the case? Because like these women usually ask you out, or they approach you, or
no. I mean, I think it's like. I think I've approached more women than women have approached me. As I've gotten older, it gets a little easier. Women approach you more as they get older because it's like, oh, well, why not? You know, like people don't care as much about like men ask women out or not how it goes. Like you are because you're ruining the gender stereotypes. Anyway, but
no, it's totally not self-preservation. It's a really good
sure. But I think that the thing is, if I didn't ask people out, it's not like people are going to be knocking down my door. Like people have asked me out, but I don't. It's not like I'm like. It's not like people are like gotta get him. You know.
I think you're right, but I think it's because you're more intimidating than like say someone like I am. Because like I'm not.
Why?
You're like a tall white male. No one's going to ask you out. Like they'll probably like flirt with you or something, and then be like, well, he's the tall white male.
So will you flirt with people? Like will you flirt with people? You'll wait to be asked out and not flirt at all before that.
I don't think I flirt too much because my like. Default defensive position emotionally is just like letting someone know everything that's going on in my head, which is I think the opposite of flirting because it's like the unattractive stuff too. So I don't think I actually flirt with people.
I find that stuff attractive, though. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, there's a line that it can cross
Right.
where it's like, oh, something bad happened. Yeah. But I'm always like, I don't feel comfortable unless someone's telling me something. I hate the sheen of someone.
And I don't feel comfortable the sheen of someone.
Yeah, like I don't like that someone's like,
it's such a waste of time.
Yeah, it's like for me, it's like when I've had sex that's like just like sex, like sometimes it works. Like it's just like, wow, that's a person I want to fuck. But for me, it's like I need someone to like be a human most of the time if I'm even going to stay hard. Like, and I think a lot of men are like that. And I'm not saying that most. I think a lot of men are the worst, like, and just terrible fucking. They're basically like cum dispensers. Like they're like the most pointless beings in the world. But I think a lot of men are like they need to be talked to. They can't, like very emotional creatures, and that's what I am.
Yeah, men are way more fragile than they
just have bigger egos.
Yeah,
and you can pop the balloon with.
I have a big ego too. Yeah. That's a problem as well, because it was like you were saying at the beginning of the podcast, I don't ever ask for what I need in a relationship because I'm like, I don't need anything. But to be in a lasting relationship, I think you do need to express your needs. I also think that most people are just going to be wrong for you. So like most relationships should
I don't think anyone's
out.
right for you. I think you just make it work with someone.
Make it work, but how much making it work do you think?
Well, do you want kids?
Yeah.
Then you'll make it work with someone.
But not with the wrong person.
What's the wrong person? Here's the problem with the wrong person. You're 30?
Yeah.
What were you like at 20? Were you way different?
Yeah.
You really think you're not going to be way different at 40?
I think it's going to be less of a difference than 20 to 30.
But pretty big. But I think there's going to be a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
Have you ever you dated someone for 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. And at the end, did you want to have sex with them?
No, I wanted to kill them.
Right.
But yeah, no, I hear your point. Like, I was a lot different.
I'm different from 2 years ago.
What?
I'm different from 2 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. But I also think you can like fall in love with someone, and if you choose each other and you have like that I'm lucky to be with this person feeling, that you don't have to be like, well, I'm going to grow and change and I'll just make it work with this person. Like maybe it will work with that person. I have way worse experiences than I haven't even had a relationship last 3 years like you have. So
You had one last 2 years.
So that's 2/3 as long as yours. I don't know why I'm being so optimistic about this. I enjoy incredibly jaded.
I've done a pretty good job of getting into your personal life a little bit.
I'm so glad that I'm editing.
And remember at the beginning when you said that I would. You may not be on tape, but you said I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
And at least admit that I'm good at it. And I think it's because
you are good at
I do care, and you do want to talk about it, but you're terrified to talk about it. You're like, oh, I'm married. No one gets inside this brain.
That's what my voice sounds like.
Yeah, that's what your voice sounds like. And you look like.
I just think someone it's like so not worth talking about. Like I have like maybe one girlfriend who I'll even talk about this stuff, but it's like there's no reason.
What's the reason for anything?
Well, there's some.
We're two people in a room, so you exchange information.
True, but this is my podcast, so
I don't know. I took over a lot of it, so it's really hard for you to make a point of that.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty jaded though, which is really unfortunate. Because I always thought like I would at least have hope that like someone great would come along and like I'd be great for them, they'd be great for me and stuff. But maybe I should ask guys out. Like they're usually like I won't date someone if they're not intelligent. So not to be a dick, but
how could you date someone if they weren't intelligent? That'd be awful.
I know, but like I don't
you could fuck someone who's not intelligent, whatever. But like
not
to
even
fucking
that.
date,
like I don't even want to fuck someone.
I could,
okay.
but like, I mean, not many times, but like I could do it. But like, but to date someone who's not intelligent is like fucking end your life. What are you talking about? That's crazy. Like I don't. When people ask me what my type is, I'm like, they're funny.
Yeah.
I honestly cannot truly be attracted to someone if they're not funny as shit. Because for me, I have insecurities about my humor, but I do think I'm a pretty funny guy. And so it's like, if you're funny, that's a particular specific kind of intelligence. And if someone is not on my level, ideally they're smarter and funnier than me. That is actually, I think, like a benefit of being a man is that in comedy is that like, I love dating people funnier than me because it's like, and women have dealt with so many shitty men that their expectations are so lowered that they can date someone less funny than them. It's like because they don't really have many good options. Like if you're a super funny woman, you're dealing with a lot of narcissistic people. You know what I mean? So that I can be dated because I'm funny enough to date a very smart woman. So it's like but.
I hear you.
I just like funny women, and if a woman is so funny, because if a woman's not so funny and I'm lying in bed with her, I feel lonely, and then I want her to go away.
Yeah.
And it's like, she could be the most beautiful person ever, and like, wow, thrilled I got to fuck you. That's awesome. But like, if you're not funny, it's like I'm only going to be thinking of ways that this can end sooner. and of course, I want someone to be very attractive. Like, or I want to be super attractive because I love sex and I love the physical part of it, and I am a beast more than I am a brain. But if someone's not super funny, it's like, and that's why I think you should ask people out, because like if you're into someone, like they might never ask you out because they might think you're out of their league or shit like that. Like,
Let's do a word prompt game.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say something. Say the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay, ready? Woman.
Beautiful.
Love.
Impossible.
Seth Rogen.
Loser.
Relationships.
Impossible.
Alcohol.
Bad.
Aggregate.
Elections.
Death.
A relief.
Okay. A relief. Thank you for that.
I was just kidding about the Seth Rogen being a loser. He has like $100 million.
He listens to this podcast.
Yeah.
So he has $100 million. Actually, no one's going to hear this podcast.
You're not going to put it out?
No, I know I will, but no one's going to listen to it.